Hey girlies, welcome back to the Imani Forrester channel. As you know, Imani Forrester is the author of 30 Reasons Why Men Deserve Nothing, which you can find in the description box below. For those of us who still deal with XYs, this book was written to educate women on how to protect ourselves and get the most out of relationships with men, while deprogramming women from the marrying for love narrative that has destroyed so many women's lives, referencing real studies and data that can be fact-checked. It also teaches how it doesn't benefit women to settle on any level, helps to identify red flags, and warns of the dangers of sacrificing for and building men while neglecting our own futures. I'm Shanice, and in this video I'm going to be going over a very interesting Reddit story that I found last night in the Our Relationship Advice subreddit from a newly pregnant girlfriend who feels betrayed after her much older boyfriend threw away her expensive collection of dolls. We're going to take a look, I'll read a few comments, and come back with my commentary. My 25 female boyfriend, 40 male, got rid of my collection without asking me, but says he didn't do it to hurt me. How do I get past this? We've been together for a year and a half, and I recently found out that I am pregnant with our first child. Since I was 12, I collected a particular type of dolls and associated merchandise, and I'm really passionate about it. I had a pretty extensive collection after 13 years. Obviously, now that I'm not 12 anymore, I don't play with them, but I have a couple shelves in my office, a few of my favorites in the bedroom, and a few on the bookshelf in the living room. He has room for his hobby stuff too. He has said before he thought that they were more for kids, but at the same time he bought me dolls, even helping me to find rare ones at times, so I thought he came around to them, and I was surprised to find, after going to visit my dad for a few days, that he had gotten rid of my entire collection when I came back. Everything is gone. I haven't stopped crying since I got back, and we had the biggest fight. He said he made the decision because now that we're having a baby, it's time for me to grow up and get rid of them. But he thought it would be easier on me if he did it while I wasn't there. He says his intentions were good, but I'm so devastated. I've never been more upset in my entire life. My question is, how do I get over this and move past it and stop feeling like this was a betrayal? Since he says he meant it with good intentions. I've just never felt this sad in my whole life. I set it to reduce the number of notifications on my phone. When I go to sleep, I'm logging out now, but will log back in tomorrow probably. I want to say thanks to you guys. Without having posted, I probably would have continued to be sad, but never seen the situation in the light I see it now. I hope for the recovery of some of my beloved dolls, if not all of them, and plan to approach the situation with some of the advice given here in hopes of recovery. One comment says, he's testing your boundaries now that he thinks that you can't leave. Another comment replies, abuse ramps up when a partner is trapped. Married and pregnant are the two biggest periods of change. Another comment says, 3 months into buying a house with my ex, he started physically abusing me. I'd been with him 7 years at that point. They really do hide their true colors until they think you're trapped. Joke's on him. I left 9 months later and left him with a huge mortgage to pay, and I hear he's crying in pubs over me. One more comment says, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew this collection was important and valuable to you. Consider that if you stay in this relationship, you will look at him every day and know he thinks he gets to make decisions for me without my consent. He isn't wary of taking away things that matter to me. He chose to do this. He waited until you were out of the house over a couple nights. He doesn't care about what you value and treasure. This is unforgivable. Take it from a fellow abuse victim. Yes, you are an abuse victim. He will degrade you. He will isolate you. He will chip away at your self-worth. And eventually anything and everything good and that you hold dear will be taken or used against you. Someone else asks, can you get them back? Would they be in a garbage bag in the garage until the next garbage day, for example? I'm sorry, I would be deeply hurt and feel betrayed. I keep certain things that mean a lot to me, and I can't imagine having someone go through my stuff and throwing it out. I don't know if I could ever forgive that person either, especially if they knew how much the items mean to me. I would probably break off the relationship and go no contact because I couldn't trust them after what they did, irregardless of their intentions. It's not their choice to make. Please think about continuing a relationship with this person. If he can do something like this, he will continue to control and manipulate you again. Someone else says, do we know if he threw them out? Such a large collection would be worth something. I'm wondering if he sold it. All of that to say, if he really meant well, he could have easily worked with OP to pack the collection safely in the attic or something. Unilaterally disposing of it is cruel, abusive, and 100% intentional. This comment says, is your dad in your life? A brother, an uncle? Invite them all over to help you move out and intimidate your soon-to-be ex into fessing up what he did with your dolls. Get rid of it and leave. File police reports and sue him for the value. Someone else says, file a police report for theft. Maybe that will make him tell you what he did with them. Someone here says, this comment says, oh my God, sweetie, please, please, please believe this middle-aged woman with 3 daughters, one of which isn't much younger than you. Get the Do not tie yourself to this man forever. He is so much more calculating and sinister than you realize. He waited until you were pregnant to do this. It will only get worse from here. He thinks he has you trapped. If you have this baby, you will eventually have to decide between leaving an abuser for your own safety and well-being or leaving your child alone with an abuser for up to 50% of their childhood. This is why abusive men wait until you're pregnant. Because if you leave, they will terrorize your children until you come back. I swear to God, I've seen this play out many times. It is the most unoriginal move in the abuser playbook. It is so hard to get sole custody these days. Do not believe the hype. He will almost certainly get 50% custody if he seeks it. Do not condemn a child to be a pawn for this cruel man. Please, please trust me. Ending this pregnancy is the right and moral thing to do if it's not too late. This comment says, OP, what he did was a form of domestic abuse, and telling you it was for your own good as well as the good of the baby is him trying to condition you to accept his control. And someone else replies, and to get you to accept that these things are true. He will have you doubting your own feelings and experiences soon, if that hasn't already happened, which it has, sadly. This comment says, don't get over it. It was a betrayal. If I punched you in the face and said, I only had good intentions, would you believe me? And then they continue, people can say whatever they want to. It doesn't mean it's true. He can even think he had good intentions, but that absolutely doesn't matter. Those dolls were not his, they were yours, and he has no right to do anything with your property. I agree with all of the comments that I've read. I have a lot of feelings about the situation, but I'll try to keep it short. First, I will say that women like OP need to be aware of how abusers try to reframe their experiences and use particular language that downplays the abusiveness of their actions. The term humbling comes to mind here because to be a humble person is considered a positive trait. But when an abuser hijacks this benign term, it's an attempt to smokescreen and trivialize his verbal abuse. It's gaslighting, period. At the same time, this abusive 40-year-old boyfriend was trying to manipulate OP into believing that his clear betrayal and control tactics were for her own good, instead of being the abuse and crime that he committed, because yes, stealing her property was a crime. It's so frustrating how often ex-wives will have women doubting their own very human feelings and reactions to abuse, like in this case. This young woman was rightfully upset that this man threw out her expensive collection, and he knew he was wrong for it because, as everyone else pointed out, he did it when she wasn't there. If he meant well, he could have simply had a conversation with her. And on top of all that, he committed this act during a time where she was at her most vulnerable, and her body's under a lot of stress, just proving how insidious and calculated this all really was. OP's feelings are perfectly natural and normal. She ended up in a fight with this man, not over nothing. She trusted this man, and he showed her how little he regards her feelings and her as a person. To feel devastated and betrayed is valid and just obvious. Her anger over the injustice that she faced is valid. And if there's any woman out there who needs to hear this message, I really hope you hear this video too. One thing I noticed too about these ex-wives is that their main character syndrome and centering of themselves in a woman's life will cause them to discourage hobbies and interests in their partners, either by disparaging them or destroying them himself. A lot of ex-wives value the utility and labor of a woman and view her as a tool to his own ends. So if she has hobbies and interests outside of him, he treats her almost like a computer with a virus. The way a computer will slow down when it has malware on it, and you have to remove it, you have to get in there and take it out so that the computer can get back on task. In this case, the only task that OP needs to be concerned with, in this man's opinion, is him and the baby to come. It just highlights to me just how much they dehumanize women. Another issue I have is with these older men. He's 40 years old enough to be her father, and she's just 25. She's a young adult, her brain has just matured. Despite the fact that there's no age limit on hobbies and people can enjoy things at any age, if he wanted a grown, mature woman, he could have just found someone his own age. Ironically, I'm sure that his hobby paraphernalia is still in that house, on those shelves, which really pisses me off. Like, when is it time for him to grow up? That's all I have for this video today. I could go on, but I do want to keep this fairly short. I completely agree with everyone who said that she shouldn't tie herself to this man forever. I mean, if it were up to me, you throw out my dolls, I'm throwing out your baby. I really hope that she takes this advice to heart that she's been given, because from the outside, it seems like things could only get worse with that kind of calculating and insidious, dangerous man. That's all I have for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching this far, and don't forget to like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.